Hi there, my name is Fe Rye. I am a fitness professional and a qualified nutritionist. Tonight I want to talk to you a little bit about protein. We're going to get into why protein is so important in our diet. We are going to delve into what it does in our bodies and how it works and what it's responsible for. We're also going to have a look at protein across the ages, specifically women in peri and post-menopausal stages, and also how we can add more protein into our diet if we're not getting enough. I'm going to touch on supplementation. So what is protein? Well, protein is a macronutrient. It's important to our diet, and it's made up of amino acids, which are the building blocks necessary for various functions in the body. There are 20 amino acids that join together in different combinations to form proteins. And there are two types of amino acids. There are essential and non-essential. The essential are the amino acids that cannot be made by the body and are therefore essential to get through our diet. And there are 9 of these. So the non-essential are amino acids that can be made by the body and therefore not required from our diet. The nutritional quality of a protein is determined by the number of essential amino acids that it contains. And these can be divided into a complete protein and an incomplete protein. Complete sources of proteins contain all of those essential amino acids, all 9, and they are high quality sources of protein. They are predominantly animal-based. However, there are some plant-based sources such as soy, amaranth, and quinoa that will give us those 9 essential amino acids. The incomplete sources of protein usually lack at least 1 essential amino acid and are therefore considered to be a lower quality source of protein. And incomplete sources are always plant-based. This is why sometimes we hear about vegetarians and vegans or people on a whole food plant-based diet potentially not getting sufficient amount of protein in their diet. However, we can do food combination to make sure that we are getting the right amount of those amino acids into the diet if you are following one of those protocols. So what does the body use protein for? So it uses it to build, repair, and maintain tissues, making it essential for everything from muscle and bone health to hormone production and also immune function. There are 6 key reasons why we need protein. One is that muscle maintenance and growth, because protein is critical for muscle tissue repair and growth, especially for those engaging in physical activities such as resistance training or endurance events. It is also important for enzyme production, because many enzymes that speed up chemical reactions in the body are proteins, which are vital for metabolism and energy production. Thirdly, proteins are important for hormone regulation, and some hormones such as insulin and growth hormone are proteins, and they help regulate processes such as metabolism, blood sugar levels, and growth again. Protein is also required to support the immune system. The antibodies which help the immune system recognize and neutralize the pathogens like bacteria and viruses are proteins. So without adequate protein, immune responses can be compromised. We also require it for structural support because proteins are key structural components of cells and tissues, contributing to skin, hair, nails, connective tissues, collagen, and elastin, all help to maintain our elasticity and strength. And finally, for transport and storage of nutrients. Proteins help transport molecules like oxygen through hemoglobin and nutrients throughout the body. They also play a role in storing essential substances. So we do need to consume protein, and we need to consume protein daily, because unlike fat and carbohydrates, the other macronutrients, the body doesn't store excess protein for later use. We need a steady intake of protein through our diet to maintain these essential bodily functions. So the guidelines from the Australian Guide for Healthy Eating state for a healthy, normal person without any health issues that 0.75 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein is required. And over 70, that actually jumps to 0.94 grams per kilogram of body weight. So it increases with age. However, this is also a time when the appetite reduces. And so potentially we have our older populations not actually receiving sufficient protein. However, the guidelines are different in relation to sports nutrition guidelines because active people actually require a lot more protein. I'm going to focus particularly on recent research, 2023, on active women and athletes, because the recommended daily protein intake should fall within the mid to higher ranges of the current sports nutrition guidelines, which is 1.4 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So for women at all stages of life, right from puberty right through to post-menopausal, protein doses need to be evenly distributed, basically around every 3 to 4 hours. And that is what the research is showing. So potentially for a very active woman, that's between 30 and 40 grams 3 to 4 times a day. And importantly, timing-wise, for active women, we need to consume protein within 30 minutes of exercise. So that is really important to know. I just want to touch on high protein diets because high protein diets have been popular in some diet protocols, but it's important that any diet you follow or eating regime that you are not cutting out whole food groups. Having more protein than our body needs doesn't mean that we store it for later, because we don't store it and it will be excreted by the body. We're going to talk a little bit more now around the hormones, because during peri and post-menopausal stages for women, estrogen is declining and women experience muscle loss, which is called sarcopenia. It can lead to reduced strength and metabolic rates. And because protein provides those amino acids that are essential for muscle repair and growth, it's a crucial time during peri and postmenopause that those amino acids from protein are consumed, because they are necessary for producing neurotransmitters, including serotonin and dopamine, which influences mood, focus, and overall mental health. So the fluctuating hormones in those meno years, we know that mood changes or mood swings are quite common, but protein can help support that neurotransmitter balance. And this stabilizing effect on mood is particularly helpful in reducing symptoms like anxiety and low energy. And the research highlights how protein intake can support mental well-being and hormonal health. So I really do want to reiterate here how protein does support hormonal health and balance particularly in these menopausal years, because of that fluctuation. But also what is happening during those years is it impacts the muscle mass and bone density as well. And this is a time that can start causing osteoporosis and the leaching of the bones. So we really need to ensure that we're getting sufficient protein and vitamin D. The protein is also good for bone health and can counteract some of the changes that we're seeing in those years. The amino acids are precursors for certain hormones, which are important for maintaining metabolic function, but they are also there to produce neurotransmitters, which include the serotonin and dopamine, influence the mood, focus, and general overall mental health. Blood sugar and insulin balance is also affected by protein, because protein helps stabilize blood sugar by slowing down the carbohydrate absorption. So this reduces the insulin spikes that can lead to weight gain and those hormonal imbalances. Amino acids. I'm going to talk about branched chain amino acids because there are 3 essential amino acids of the 9. 3 of those are leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Now, leucine is particularly important for muscle protein synthesis and plays a key role in triggering that anabolic process that promotes muscle growth. So it's often considered to be the most important branched chain amino acid, or BCAA, because it's activating the pathway that is essential for muscle repair and growth. Now, it also helps to reduce muscle breakdown during intense training. So if you're focusing on muscle recovery or performance, leucine is often emphasized due to its unique role in muscle metabolism. And having leucine during or post-exercise is essential, really no matter what level that you're playing at. So just coming back to our intake. How much do we need? When do we need it? Who needs what? And as I've mentioned, we have an increase later in life over 70. There's also an increase for teenage boys who are going through a growth spurt and therefore require the protein to support that growth. And again, as I mentioned, the research for women and who are active, but particularly helpful during that peri and post-menopausal years. So on your screen, you can see some images of various sources of protein and how many grams of protein are in each of the sources. As a nutritionist, I often have people say to me, well, I ate 120 gram steak at dinner, so is that not giving me 120 grams of protein? Now, while steak isn't on here, you can see there is chicken and grilled salmon. And it is pretty much similar. 120 gram steak gives you around 25 to 30 grams of protein. So when you consider how much protein you may require in your diet, this is just a quick visual snapshot of how much protein is in each of these sources. So if I was a female who average weight of say 65 kilograms, and I want to consume 1.2 grams per kilogram of my body weight of 65 kilos over the course of the day. Depending on how active I am, I would be looking at anywhere between 78 and 104 grams of protein per day. Now, if I just use this chart, for example, if I was to have eggs for breakfast, that's going to give me 12 grams. Nuts as a snack, there's another 6. Some lean protein, maybe the salmon and a salad for lunch. It's 25 grams of protein just in the salmon. Maybe some high protein yogurt and fruit. There's a lot of high protein yogurts. Cottage cheese is another one. Let's say that gives us about 15 grams of protein. And then another piece of lean protein and vegetables for dinner. That's around 85 grams just from the protein sources. But of course, there is protein in plants. So, for example, spinach, asparagus, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, mushrooms, sweet corn, they all have protein content, but nowhere near these sources that are on your screen. So sweet corn is around 3.5 grams of protein per 100 gram corn cob. Broccoli for 100 grams, which is around raw, which is around a cup of broccoli, there is around 3 grams of protein. So whilst they are not complete proteins, when we combine them with perhaps legumes, the grains, and some seeds, we can start to build up additional protein sources. Now, this is very, very popular in, for example, Mexican dishes, where they're mixing legumes, say black beans, with rice. So between the two of them, they're bringing in the essential amino acids. Whilst neither have 9, the combination would give them the 9 essential amino acids that they require. So if we're not getting sufficient amount of protein from the food that we are eating, then perhaps we need to consider where the gaps are in the daily protein intake. Considering that we do want a protein dose, we want to bring the protein into every meal throughout the day, not have a binge on protein in the morning and another one at night. We definitely want to spread that out. So if you consider your own diet, and based on the previous slide, you might start to make a bit of a plan on how much protein are you getting in your diet, adding in the extras that you're going to get from some plants, and are you actually meeting the mark? So if not, we definitely want to start considering how we are going to supplement our protein. The other important thing I've got on this slide is around post-workout. Women really need to be consuming a dose of protein post-workout within 30 minutes of finishing that workout. Men are different. They can have between 60 and 90 minutes of post-workout to consume their protein, but women definitely need to consume the protein within 30 minutes. That's going to stop the muscle breakdown. Okay, so it's very, very important that women are consuming their protein within 30 minutes. And supplementing is just to support your dietary intake. As we know, the body does not store protein, and it will eliminate what it does not need or can't use. But protein supplements need to be considered that are quality, without fillers and additives, and definitely that are digestible and easy on the gut. And this is where Perform by Juice Plus comes in. Perform is a soy-based protein, so we know it's giving us those 9 essential amino acids, so we know it's a quality protein. Our soy protein has a PETA score of 1.0, which is the highest. Now, what does that mean? That is our digestibility score. It means that our bodies can consume it and digest it easily without causing gastrointestinal problems, which some people do have from supplements that are maybe not as high quality. Perform has a very unique formula, and it has mushroom powders that are UV treated, which are high in vitamin D. That's great for our bones. It has a recovery blend of tart cherry and beetroot. And it has that BCAA, our branched chain amino acid of leucine, and has a good dose, 1.9 grams per serve, which is a good dose. So Perform is an awesome way to bring in some supplementation for protein, whether it's because you're not getting enough protein in your diet, maybe it's because you're not getting enough protein post-workout. And it's when you mix this on water or coconut water, what you'll notice is it leaves you satisfied without craving more. It's also really good, as it's easy on the gut, to have if you're not actually overly hungry, but you know that you're not hitting your protein requirements. So it won't fill you up if you don't bulk it up. For the majority, we would mix that on ice cold water or perhaps coconut water just to put it in a shaker, and it's pretty much on the go protein dosing. So when you consider the people in your family, perhaps it's your older parents or grandparents, perhaps there's a teenage boy in the house, perhaps there's a menopausal woman in the house, our protein intake does need to meet our needs. And this is just a fabulous way of adding some extra protein into your diet where you're just not hitting that mark, and it's convenient. If you'd like more information on Perform, please ask the person that shared this video with you, and they will be able to provide you some more information. Or you can jump on our Juice Plus company website. Thank you for your time.